Okay, I'm going to give you a famous youth ministry one-liner. God is good. You know the rest. Okay, so in case you didn't know, the answer to that one-liner, God is good, it's all the time. So someone might shout out, God is good, and somebody else shouts out, all the time. And we have to remember this, especially in our ministry. But I think sometimes we need reminders, especially when we are going through a time of transition. Because transitions are hard. They're hard for us, they're hard for our youth, our young adults, or whoever is in our ministry that we are serving. Going through a transition can be difficult. And we have to remember to walk alongside our youth during these times of transition in their lives. Maybe it's from middle school to high school or from high school to college, trying to find their way and being reminded that we are there to help them, to serve them, whether they're within our parish boundaries or away at college, hours away, a plane ride away, that we are there for them. One of the things I like to do to keep in touch with the youth and to let them know I am there for them is to send them little texts of inspiration when they're away at college. I think that's important to remind the youth that you are still there for them, that they are still connected to you, to your parish, to your ministry, even though they might not physically be able to attend or able to be there. And that's even good to keep in touch with youth that maybe have fallen away a little bit, especially young adults that have moved on out of your ministry possibly, but you still want them to know you are there for them, especially if they're away at college. Another little sense of home, to send them a little handwritten note from maybe some of your youth group members that know them during their first semester away at college. That's important during that time of transition to remind them of home. Something that I like to include as well in that little package, little care package from home, is a little piece of candy. Now, typically around our youth office, you will always find fruit snacks at our ministries. It's just a staple around here. People love them. A little bit of fruit snacks and a little fruit snack. I mean, who doesn't love a fruit snack, right? So sending them a little package of fruit snacks with this little note saying a little taste of home, right? Little corny, but at the same time gives that little sense of what that ministry meant to them just by having that little piece of candy mailed to them and a little note of inspiration. It's always good to send those little care packages reminding them that you are there for them during this time of transition. Now, transitions don't just happen for our youth and the young adults in our ministry, but they also happen for us. There's transitions of different volunteers, different people within our ministry that help at different times. Maybe at one point you have a lot of really great volunteers, but time has passed and now you no longer do. That time of transition, how do you work within it? There was a time that I had an assistant. Now there's a time that I have only volunteers around. How am I working through that transition, right? Another transition that we can experience is also within our staff, particularly within the priests in our staff and in our parish. That's important, especially if your priests are involved within your ministries. Youth grow attached to them, they get to know them. You grow attached to them, you get to know them. You get to know them not only on a priest level, but maybe as your boss, also as your pastor, or as your friend. And so for me personally, I've been going through that transition of a priest that I have known for 20 years and have worked with the past 13 years in youth ministry. Although he hasn't been around, we are now experiencing new priests and a new pastor at our parish. And to welcome them in and to allow them to serve our youth ministry in a brand new way with their own charisms, their own gifts, their own personalities that they can share with our ministry. And being open to the new ideas that they have and the new time in our life, the new season that God has presented us with. And it's been a blessing to be able to pray through this time, pray with our youth through this time, assure them that God has not abandoned us because there's change, but that God is inviting a new season in our life, a new season in the time of our ministry, and a new season in our church. And God has these great plans. And he tells us that in our lives, there are different seasons. We hear that in the book of Ecclesiastes, right? A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to uproot the plant. So there are going to be times of transition where God is inviting each one of us to detach from something and allow God, and in his goodness, which he is so good, to invite us to something new, invite us to a new time in our life. So whether you're going through a time of transition or a time of maybe complacency, allow these little changes that might take place in your life and in your ministry, no matter how big or small, allow for growth, spiritual depth, and your ministries to take a new time, a new season in their lives and in the lives of the youth and all those involved to be able to grow closer to the Lord. Remember, our ministries are about touching hearts. So in this time of transition that you may be going through, allow yourselves to touch the hearts and souls of the youth through transition, through change, and through God and His ever presence being so good all the time. God bless.